Are you guys ready for this? I know you think you're ready, but I don't know if you are. Thank you, Soul Cyber Singer Adam. Your name and your super chat messages always trip me the fuck out. Thank you so much for the orange super. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much, Suo. Welcome home. And thank you all. Get under my covers, wrap my little blanket tightly, and listen to everyone's horror stories holding hands with each other. Thank you for the daily ching ching. Oh. Thank you guys. So there's a lot of you here already. Thank you. I think we're at 9 viewers, which is really insane, but thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for submitting your stories. I'm gonna get into this a little bit more as I keep going, but there are so many good stories. There's over 278 submissions, which is insane. That's so much text to go through, and I would be lying if I said I went through everything, because there's literally pages and pages and pages of stuff. There's like, yeah, there's 281 right now. And each of them is like, some of them are over a page long. So you guys really came through. Thank you so much. I'm gonna read some of them to you. And I want this to be about you, because you guys so graciously shared some of your lives with me. And you followed the rules for the most part, so thank you. Thank you so much, Hari. Oh my god, guys, thank you. Hi, Julia. You're okay, honey. Please don't worry. Thank you so much for the teal. Thank you, Zichi. I miss you, Hexy. I'm sorry I miss your stream because I'm so busy with my work these days. Love you forever. Kiss, kiss, kiss. It's okay. It's okay. You're here now, and it means a lot. This stream means so much to me. So I hope you guys can sit with me through it a little bit. Thank you so much, Terry, for the orange. I'm just lurking in for a moment because I'm working. Thank you, Terry. Thank you. I appreciate you coming by. Thank you so much. Thank you for all of the likes on this stream too. Thank you, Anwin. Thank you, Kaichi. Thank you, Moi, for the 5 gifted obsessed. I'll thank all of you properly in just a little bit. We're gonna Zatu for a little bit before beginning this stream. Or reading your content, reading your stories. But yeah, I'll just get some water. I'll be right back. Thank you so much, Obsessed. Thank you, Moi. Thank you to everybody who came by, who came through. I really appreciate all of you. Thank you. I'll be right back. Okay. Hello everybody. So some of you might know this very iconic background from previous streams, but this is a This is one of the backgrounds I used to use quite often. You miss this background? Yeah, me too, honestly. Nostalgic, really. We're back in the school, everybody. It's been a while, yeah, it has. It's been a little bit. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much. My birthday's in 30 minutes. I'm ready for the spooky stories in a dark room. You're gonna be spending your birthday with me like that? That's how you want to spend your birthday? That's really fucking sweet, man. That's really sweet. You know, it's these things that just make me smile. Like, I don't think you guys can I don't think you know, but how often you make me smile when you say these things and you spend like events like this with me. Thank you all so much. It's kind of weird too, because it's kind of like staring at myself, you know, like whenever you guys say things like this, it's like they're just like me for real, because I never really celebrated my birthday. Like I've never had a birthday party. I've never and I've lived 48 years, you know. So the only time I really had anything like a party was when I spent it with you this year. So it was really cool, and I don't think I want to spend a birthday after spending one birthday with you. I don't think I'd ever want to spend a birthday any other way. So thank you for this. This is really sweet of you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Masato. Yeah, we can Zatsu it up a little bit. I'll read your supers. I will talk to you a little bit about this. And we'll talk up a storm. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so many different submissions for the horror stories. I just couldn't believe it. I thought I was gonna get like 20 maybe, but I got 200, over nearly 300 submissions. It's just fucking nuts. Why are we in the center like that? It looks like we're being sacrificed. I'm really happy that one of you noticed. Because yeah, I put you in the center like this because I'm casting a spell on you. I'm casting a really evil fucking ritual on you that will hopefully make you taller. But I think you're gonna forever be small. So I think you're cursed. I'm really sorry. I've been trying my best. I've been sitting here for 3 hours, chanting different incantations, but you're still always gonna be small. I didn't want to have to be the one to tell you, but you're always gonna be bite-sized. So I'm sorry. Thank you, Rosalia. Thank you, Sapphire, for the 3 months. Thank you, Rosalia, too, for the 3 months. Thank you. I've been here since day one, and I can't thank the gifters enough. As my OSHI, I think I treasure being a part of the Sicklings. Thank you, Sapphire. I really enjoy spending time with you guys. Thank you so much, Cam, for the 4 months. Thank you so much, Morax. Max Comfy Hex streams and horror are always the best. Yeah, the music in the background is really cool too. Shout out to Scarl, who helped me find this. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Scarl. I'm ready for the story. I'm really happy to hear that. There's gonna be a lot, and I think the reason I want this to be a VOD, so I hope that you guys can use this. For me personally, I reuse the same podcasts, and I reuse the same things. The reason why I think I listen to the same things over and over, like Silent Hill stuff or old horror podcasts, is of 2 reasons, right? The first one is it reminds me of better times, reminds me of times where I still had certain people, or I still it was just a comfier or easier to get along with time. But I think another reason why I listen to the same songs or to the same soundtracks of games is because it's a way of controlling things, you know? I think it's just a constant, like, being able to listen to the same things, knowing that they'll still sound the same, being able to predict what happens next in the song is a comfort. And I think being with you guys and having this community, it's a reason why I'm so clingy to, and I love streaming so much. You're also a constant for me, so waking up and being able to see this and have all of you here is just so spectacular, and I'm very grateful for it. So thank you for all 3 memberships. Thank you guys. Thank you, Hi. Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you, Ari. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to tell our stories. Of course. Thank you, Lydia, for the 5 months. I love your profile picture. Thank you, Susu. Thank you so much, Marcy. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Let's be clingy together. Yeah, let's do that. Thank you guys so much, man. I really appreciate it. You mean everything to me. Thank you. Okay, one thing I need to say too. I only have about, oh god, what is this? Fucking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like maybe 8 stories here out of the 280. A lot of them are really long. Which is really great, and I'm very grateful for it. I won't be able to read even close to all of the stories, so I'm really sorry, but I definitely want to do these streams again. I said if the streams do well, or this stream does well and you guys really like it, then I do another one, because there's just so many good stories to read. But yeah, there's a lot of reading. Even right now with these 8 stories alone, I already have more like 5 or 6 pages worth of stuff to read. So there's really good ones. A lot of you write really well, I want to say, but it's very obvious that some of you write fan fictions, because there's some of you who write in, and you can tell, like, you don't know if there's tension, like horror tension, or there's sexual tension between the ghost and the I'm fucking confused. I'm feeling some sort of tension, man, but I don't know if it's fucking sexual or what, but it's it's fucking crazy. But I still really like the way that you write, all of you. Thank you so much. There's some really funny ones. There's some really dark ones too, but there's some really funny ones. Like I forgot my passport when I was going to the airport, or my grades were really low this semester, something like that. You fucks can never leave me alone. It's just so ridiculous, but thank you so much for sending them over, and even the funny ones, I appreciate them, because they gave me a good laugh while reading. I hope you do more of these streams. I miss the dog. Sharing stories always opens the world to everyone. Now we have a reason to snuggle in your arms. Yes, not exactly. Thank you so much for the teal. Thank you. Good morning, Babu. I missed yesterday, so you got extra kisses today. Hope you have a great stream. I'll walk after work. It's okay. So a lot of the NA people weren't able to make it to yesterday's stream because it was a little bit earlier than usual, which is something I completely understand. Thank you so much for being here right now. It's pretty late for JST, so for JST it's like 12:30 a.m. And for like in other places in Asia it's like pretty early too, or pretty late. So right now I purposefully made the stream a little bit late here because I wanted it to be a horror stream, right? So if you're watching this at like 1 a.m. or fucking 12 a.m. or 11 p.m., like that's as intended. But if you're watching from NA, you know, it's still pretty early. So hi, thank you for starting your morning. Thank you, Haku. Thank you guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun. Thank you. See, people are gonna get haunted. Yeah, for sure. I was listening to like I was listening to specific horror inspired songs before, while reading through this, and it made things extra spooky. It was really nice. Really nice. I think, honestly speaking, this is probably the spookiest thing that I've had to do, because it's putting myself in other people's shoes. It's putting myself in other people's shoes and being able to empathize with them and their stories. So I just was able to really put myself into, you know, see their POV of things and really kind of live vicariously through them. Thank you for the 6 months, Viv. I'm finally 6 months for Ganon. At least one of the Sicklings admits it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Viv. Hi ho, Hexy. Hope you're having a super day. And can't wait to pee my pants from being scared. Also, feet tickle. I need fucking therapy pills, man. At this point, you guys are fucking... I need drastic therapy after all of these feet tickling. Stop talking about feet, and you have to let me forget that. Oh wait, oh no, so that's why Nuong's... Oh my god, I'm just realizing. I was like, why are they doing this with my feet? What the oh my god, I'm realizing right now. Oh fuck. Wait. So Nuong's drawing was... Wait, Nuong was really listening when I was fucking saying that? No fucking way, no way. I only realized now. I was like, how does Nuong know? Wait a minute, how do they know? That was really good art. I hate it. I fucking love it, but at the same time, oh my god, I would be fucking losing it. So ticklish. 1:33 a.m. I hope I won't get any nightmares from stream tonight. Hope to be live gang soon. My body is still stuck on my schedule before holidays. Not fun. Snuggy wuggy. Consider this. You can fall asleep to this stream, and you can really just ease yourself into Betty bye and just not watch the stream and go to sleep, yeah? And then you can watch the VOD tomorrow. Does that sound fair? Therapy fun so I can tickle your feet and not feel guilty. I'm gonna tickle you back. I'm gonna tickle you back so hard, trust me. Thank you so much for the 2 months, Jizzy. 2 months, hi Hex. Horror story is scary, but it's also scary that it's Monday. That's pretty terrifying. That's pretty terrifying, yeah. To those of... I know it's Monday for like people in Asia, and it's pretty... You're pretty close to Monday. People in NA, you're like 12 hours away, something like that. So, I hope you guys have a good work week. I know it's a new month, and I know that you might be going to school or to work and be stressed about this upcoming week. But please know, I love you, and I believe in your ability to push through. You've got this. To those of you who are going to Anime Expo, I think. I keep forgetting the name because I keep getting it confused with Anime Impulse, but to those of you who are going to Anime Expo, fuck you guys. I'm fucking jealous. But I hope you guys are having fun. I'm both jealous and not jealous because I've been seeing all of these pictures of how congested everything is. But I hope you guys are having fun. And I'm totally not fucking jealous. Thank you so much, iCatch. Don't mention the feed. No one mention the feed, please. Don't. Let's not talk about the feed. Okay. So, do we want to start with the short horror stories today or the long ones? We'll probably start in like 15-20 minutes. Thank you for the 6 months. Half a year already. Thank you for the bed story. Of course. It's my pleasure. I need to be thanking you. Uruteria, thank you so much. Hex being jealous is another thing. Oh, trust me, you wouldn't like it. You wouldn't like... You wouldn't like it. Being jealous, oh... I become a fucking demon. I become so petty. Can we bite you today? Yeah, you can bite me any day. Thank you for letting us share our experiences with you. I legit can't contain my excitement. Loki, I wish we could do this like once a month. Yeah, I think if this is the case, we might just do it. We might do it next week. So you can hold me to that. We can do it next week. But there's so many stories. There's so many good ones, and I think I might just close my submissions. So I just have so many, and I want to be able to read some of the backlog that I have now. I haven't been able to go through all of them. So to those of you who sent some, please don't feel bad, because I haven't even been able to, like, chances are I haven't even been able to properly read yours. So I've only been able to go through like 60 or 70, because it's reading like 60 or 70 pages of a book, right? It's genuinely that long. Some of your story submissions are longer than 3 pages. Like, there's one I have that's longer than 3 pages. So I have to go through a lot, and I really want to read. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. I can't wait to hear you read them, because I find it really relaxing. Hope your day has been well. Were there any stories that genuinely spooked you? There were some. There were definitely some. I feel like with horror games, they're pretty impersonal, right? That's why I like games like Silent Hill and Resident Evil, because for some, they don't really spook me, but then I get attached to the characters pretty heavily. When it comes to like other impersonal horror games, like horror games that I kind of play for 2-3 hours, I don't really get attached to the characters, and there's a less bigger likelihood that I'd get spooked. But with you guys specifically, I love you. That's the difference. And being and loving you guys, and really appreciating the time and effort you put into writing the stories, I get attached to your stories, and I put myself in your shoes. So it was a little bit easier for me to get spooked here, and I did get a little spooked for sure during the readings of these stories, or while I was curating. I can watch tomorrow, Sticky. I'm going out tomorrow, as well as I have IRL therapy tomorrow. You're going through therapy? Yes, slay. Good job. I'm very proud of you, Snuggie, and I hope therapy is doing well for you, or is going well for you. Do you guys need a hug? I can give you a hug. Come here. I want to have you so close to me while I go through these, because it's really cozy, and a lot of them are super campy. Wish we could just snuggle together. Thank you, Princess Kitten. Oh, you're the first YouTuber I've spent money on. I hope you feel special. I fucking do. I really fucking do, Neo. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Neo, thank you so much. Let me drink some water. Spooky water. I'm gonna need a lot of this. Spooky. Okay. Let's continue to read a little bit. It's not too scary in the midst of many things. The biggest fear is whether the meaning is understood in English, which is not good at it. You're okay, Hiroto. No worries. It's no worries. Your super chat is very understandable. I'm sure if you've written a story or you've submitted one, I'm pretty sure it's understandable too. Some horror stories, or some of your submitted stories, I'm not reading because some of the content gets cut short, or some of the content seems to be, again, I try and vet these horror stories, so some of you guys didn't send me anything that I've been able to like see. Like they all seem pretty really legit. So I'm gonna preface this by saying this right now: all of the horror stories that I'm going to read are completely real and true, at least to my understanding, to my knowledge. So if you live anywhere close to these areas that those stories are mentioned, please be careful. Check under your bed tonight. Definitely check in your bathroom. Check in your parents' bedroom. I need you to double check the mirrors, okay? I need you to do this for me. I know you might recognize the person like in your reflection, but I need you to be very careful, because if you look at the mirror and your reflection blinks, that's not a normal thing, okay? If you look at your reflection, please make sure that it doesn't blink back, because that's really... You're sick, X. Thank you, Sophie. I'm very excited for today's stream and to actually be home in bed for it. You're home in bed? This is the first time I've ever heard that you're not working, Tintin. So many of the Sicklings are just constantly fucking working. You're all so hardworking. Thank you, Noct. Been busy the last couple of days and couldn't catch streams, but very glad to be back for this cozy one. Excited to hear the submissions, me too. I'm really excited to read them to you. We will do it in just a few minutes. I will be talking with you guys through this, but I probably will be really invested in the story. Invested. Last one in a while, feeling sleepy, so I might just leave the stream on to listen to. Good night, Hexy and Sicklings. Love y'all. I love you too. Please take care. Big fan of Mr. Nightmare. Yeah, I've been listening to so many horror channels for so long, and I'm obsessed with all of them. So I can't wait to pay homage to them, basically, and do what they do. Although I'm not going to be doing it as well as they do it. It's still really cool. Mr. Creepypasta, yeah. You have a Nexpo, so good. I fucking love Wendigoon. There's so many different ones, honestly. I know I don't have the voice for it though. Like, I don't think I have the voice for reading horror stories. I think like people like Finana or maybe like Pomu have the voice for horror stories more, like or maybe like you literally do. Think so. I'd fucking pay to have Fish read a horror story to me, honestly. It would be so cute. I think it would be the most adorable thing, having Fish go, "Once upon a time in rural..." I can't even fucking copy it, but it's so sweet. I know it'd just be sweet. It's almost 11 PM here. You're in for a fucking show. Just please. Listen to me. I don't want you to end the stream really scared and hear whispering from under the bed, okay? That's not normal. If you hear whispering under the bed, I need you to be very careful, because that's not a normal occurrence, and you might get something like that tonight. I know it's really silly right now. I know it's the morning for you if you're NA, and you know the daylight's up. It's all really calm right now, but please be careful when the sun goes down, okay? I don't want them to get you too. I got very serious insomnia. I can't take pills every day or wouldn't work. But I'm so glad that I can't sleep, so I'm listening to you right now. Addison, go to bed, hon. Use my stream to sleep if you can't sleep, okay? Or I hope it works at least. I don't know what I'm fucking saying. My procedure is finally tomorrow. I wish I had a Hex plushie to cuddle during my recovery. I'm going to miss your live streams. You never know, you might have a Hex plushie one of these days. Wink wink. I really hope I get a Hex plushie soon. I think that would be really cute. I'd pay to listen to Kyo do it. I'd laugh through the entire thing. Okay, chat, so I can't do Kyo's voice. It just ends up being missed every single time. I need to like listen to Kyo clips just to be able to do it. He'd be roasting the shit out of the ghost all the time. I take it really fucking serious. I take it really serious. Kyo would be roasting the fuck out of the ghost every single time. Would be really such a sight to see. I'd love to see every single NIJISANJI EN member do a reading of think it would be really cool to see them all too. So I think they would all bring something special to horror reading for sure. Yeah. I'd pay to watch you and Kyo read horror stories. I think it would be I think it would be hilarious. It would be a mess. You'd raise up the ghost, don't lie. I would empathize with the ghost, I think. I think I would just be like, I'd have empathy for the ghost and end up talking to it, and then the ghost would, maybe we'd take a shower together or something, I don't know. X for real is the best sleep aid. The man's has always been my sleep aid 90% of the times. Not so much in the early stages. I'm ready. Are you all ready for this? Are you all ready for this, genuinely? Okay. I think I want to do something where I do like reading, story, by. So I'm gonna just do this where I put story by, and I'm gonna like name the person whose story I'm reading. I'm gonna put it right over here, and basically we can go through it. This is nothing special. It's literally just me reading. I don't even have anything up on stream because I don't want you to read ahead of me. So I'm gonna read some of the shorter ones first, and then we're gonna keep going and read a few more. Hold on, let me properly get everything. What the fuck is going on? Okay. I think, oh man, I have to format this properly, but I think everything's okay now. Thank you so much. I used to have an obsession with listening to creepypastas and true stories as a teen, but had to stop because I got too scared and paranoid. Yeah, I just, okay, one last thing. I think that's a good... Thank you, Viv, for the reminder. If any of this, like, triggers you, or gets you paranoid, or gets you too scared past a certain, like, point, I want you to be able to click off, okay? Please understand, you know, we've set boundaries before with you and me, but I want you to set boundaries with yourself too, okay? I love you all very much, and some of these stories aren't for the faint of heart. Some of these stories are genuinely scary, and I realize and I know that reading them with this music going and everything, it might be a little bit too much for you. So please take care. Please be safe. If it gets too unbearable for you, there's no shame. It's not weak to want to click out of the stream or to want to watch the VOD or whatever that may be, okay? But we're here. I hope you guys enjoy the stories. Thank you everybody for submitting. The reason why there's 18 plus is because some of the stories might contain elements that might be sensitive to others. So if you are under the age of 18, I would advise you to probably click off. I feel like this would be, there's a lot of different stories here that could potentially trigger some unsavory moments. But also this goes to anybody over the age of 18, obviously too. Like there could be sensitive elements, so just take care. Thank you, Nookie. Okay. So I guess we start, huh? I guess it just starts like this. Oh god, it's actually okay. So this story comes from the first story I'm about to read. We're gonna read the short stories because you guys said you wanted to read the short stories first, right? So let me, oh, this is gonna be a fucking mess for a little bit, but I hope you guys bear with me. So this first story is by Jay here, right? And it goes, one day after school, I showered at home, taking my time by playing make-believe in the shower. I saw a shadow stand by the door and switched off the light in the bathroom. I screamed so loud that I was scared, but no one came to get me. I swear, I saw something by the door, and I rushed out of the bathroom to get dressed quickly and ran to the living room where my family was. I started to ask them if they had ever passed by the bathroom a few minutes before, and they said, "We didn't. We never have. We were all here since the movie started." I remember that I went cold knowing that there was something trying to mess with me, and until this day, I have trouble sleeping at night. So that's just one story. Obviously this is going to ramp up. There's going to be a lot more. But there's a lot of these ones, right? I'm going to comment on these stories as I read them. But there's a lot of like specific like shadow stuff and everything. And it's really interesting to see all of your takes on it. And it's kind of insane because as somebody who's experienced some of these supernatural things, I've seen similar things, and it's always I swear it's fucking it's okay. So let's keep going. Okay, so this one I think is anonymous because there's no credit here, but let's keep reading this. I was 8 years old. I was at home with my mom and was watching cartoons while my mom was cooking dinner. It was around 3 p.m.-ish that day when I needed some food. I went to the kitchen to ask some snacks from my mom, and obviously she was in the kitchen. At least, I thought she was. I searched for my mom in the kitchen and she wasn't there. Maybe she was in the balcony, hanging clothes. So I went to check. But she wasn't there either. I got all confused on where she was, and I started to search for her in the house. We were living in an old flat at the time, and there wasn't much places I needed to look for because the place was so small. So I went to her room. I went to the storage room and the living room, and I couldn't find a trace of her. I was 8 years old and I didn't know much at the time, so I didn't feel scared. Maybe she went out to meet the neighbors, I thought. In the end, I decided to just sit in the living room and wait for her. A few minutes later, I heard my mom talking on her phone. This was very creepy for me, as she wasn't there when I went searching for her. I promptly went up to her and I asked her where she went. She said she was in the kitchen the whole time. I told her that she wasn't there when I searched for her, but I just brushed it off and ignored. That one was anonymous. There's no credit to this. The stories are eventually gonna wrap up. So if this is something that's a little bit scary for you right now, I would consider you you maybe step out. But thank you so much, Anonymous, for sharing your story, and thank you so much, Jayhee, as well. So this next story comes from Xioshan. I don't know how to pronounce this properly. I hope I'm not butchering this. Thank you so much for sending in the story, for sending in your submission. When the teachers... why did I start with this? Oh, this is a bit oddly formatted. When the teachers were told about this, I don't think they knew what was going on either. But they just made up the excuse of... Oh, wait a minute. Is this where this starts? No. Okay, no, this is where it starts. I was a tiny little second grader at the time, and in our school there is this small garden at the center that is surrounded by all the classrooms from grades 1 to 2. If you walked from the entrance and followed the short stone path, you'd arrive at the koi pond with a statue of Mother Mary behind it. At some point in the school year, there came an incident that involves that very statue. It was during a lunch snack break. I was simply sitting in my seat while eating when I started to hear a lot of kids outside our classroom screaming and crying, "Mother Mary is crying. There are tears." So logically, I went outside to see what was wrong. I go up to a friend who was just fidgeting anxiously around in place and asked her what was going on. She then pointed to the Mother Mary statue and said, "Mother Mary is crying tears of blood." And it was. The Mother Mary statue was in fact crying tears as red as blood. There were stains, actually, but evidence of tears, none. That scared the life out of me, because just that morning the statue was definitely not like that. The face was completely clean in the early morning. When the teachers told me about this, I don't think they knew what was going on either, but they just made up the excuse of, "Mother Mary cried because of how badly you all behave." Ever since then, I've been scared of that statue in our school bathrooms, because kids doing Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary was a thing. That story, wait, I'm so sorry. This story was by, Navi, not Shoshin, but this story was by Navi. Thank you so much, Navi, for submitting your story. I've heard so many different stories about this specifically. And I've heard friends who used to do this, and who used to, that happened in the Philippines. It was even on the news. Oh really? Maybe this person was writing from that specific school. That's fucking terrifying. I refuse to do the Bloody Mary thing. Oh, is it really common? I did it as a kid. Yeah, I had lots of friends do it too, and I ended up doing it alone one time too, but nothing happened. But I did it when I was younger. I've never done it ever since, just because I think it's pretty ridiculous. I actually just wanted a friend. Okay, people are saying that the audio is glitching. I don't think it is. I think it's just because I press the mute button as I'm No, it's fine. Okay. It's probably on your end then, if you think the audio is glitching. But yeah, I thank you, Navi, so much for the stories. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. You guys ready? Why am I already scared, actually? Are you really? Okay. I don't know. I didn't think you guys would be this scared this quickly, honestly. Okay, we're gonna read more here. So these are lit. Yeah, there's definitely some really, really long ones. Okay, you guys ready? This one is by Nui. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right or if I'm butchering it, but thank you so much, Nui, for your submission. Thank you for sharing your story with us. And I'm gonna read it right now. So this one is by Nui. This happened to me about 12 or 13 years ago. I used to live in a small town where everyone kinda knows everyone, and there wasn't. So out of boredom, we made our own events and had our self-made fun for all the edgy kids in the town. This was one of the nights. A few friends just had a small gig in the downtown area, and after packing up everything and hanging out for a while, it was time to head home. Everyone else was pretty wasted, but I was the designated driver, so as the only sober it was my responsibility getting everyone home safely. It was very late by this time, around 3 a.m., and to get back to where the first stop of the night was, I had to drive by a part of town that has always been a bit isolated. I've gone through this town hundreds of times, but I will never forget this one specific drive. The mood had been very chill since everyone was already so tired and drunk. But it changed so abruptly, and I still get chills when I've always had a very good instinct that has kept me safe through the years, and I've seen lots of things to know it's better to be safe than sorry, and to listen to that inner pull within you that tells you where to go. It was just a normal drive, but at some point, there was that inner voice that woke me up and told me, don't stop. Whatever you see, don't stop. I was confused for a little bit, but I paid attention to it, and I kept driving. The next block, I could feel a very heavy presence around me, and a chill coming over my body. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw a figure standing by the side of the road. It looked like a woman with long, dark hair, wearing a white gown that covered her feet. I could feel the stare, and then I saw her wave. At that moment, I knew what my instinct meant when it said, don't stop. I don't like to drive fast, but at that moment I absolutely floored it and knew we needed to get away from here very quickly. I'm used to being the only one to see these things, but at that one moment, one of the drunk people in the car woke up and said, hey, we need to go back. Don't you see her? And everyone turned around and 2 other people saw her as well. I told them, hell no, we're leaving. Don't look back at it. By then, the passengers in the car told me that she was standing in the middle of the road, just looking at us. We eventually got out of that street and kept driving, but I could still feel the adrenaline. I still don't know for sure what it was that I saw, but I know that we all slightly saw different things. One person saw someone younger, the other just saw someone dressed in white. Another saw nothing, but felt the chill when you open a freezer. I have never seen it again, but I've always avoided driving by that area of that night. I always avoided driving by that area at night after that incident. Whatever it was, I know that it saw me seeing it, and I thank you Noi for your story. Sounds like a known ghost. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of different messed up stories like this. I've had like I've seen so many driving stories, and I've even have family members of extended family talk about stories where they were driving and they'd have really creepy people kind of ask to hitchhike or even stand in the middle of the road, and it's fucking terrifying. I can't imagine that. I wouldn't even know what to fucking do if I saw somebody standing in the middle of the road with a white dress, because you have to stop, and they're almost saying witness me in a way, but you don't know what's gonna happen next. You have no clue what's gonna happen next. Oh, we're going full force. Oh my god, going full force, guys. You have to be careful. Sometimes they change figures as animals too. Thank you, Noi, for the story. I really appreciate it. There's more stories. Hold on. Okay. I try and edit it as little as I can, everybody, but at the same time, sometimes I have to edit big portions of it, or I ad-lib, so please forgive me if I say things that aren't always there, add a few words that aren't there, just to make the story a little bit more understandable or more ready to read as a script. But I hope I keep the essence of your... Okay, so I have 3 pretty long ones coming up, and we can read. This story is from... Oh god, I feel my throat kind of fucking up already. This story is by Americano. So thank you so much, Americano, for the submission. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your... We drink some water. I was around 5 to 6 years old when this happened. I have 4 siblings, so my parents had hired a live-in maid to take care of us at the time. It was nighttime and already dark. My father told me to call our maid to make him a cup of tea. So little me went out to find her. I looked for her around the house and saw her silhouette right outside. I went to open the house door and walked out to call her. There on the other side of our house, there was an empty plot of land between my neighbors and me. This piece of land had been abandoned for quite some time. We have humid climate where I reside, which encourages trees to grow quickly. Therefore, this empty land ultimately turned into a small rainforest. There were snakes, birds, and even monitor lizards in those thick trees that have made their way into our back garden several times. When I finally caught up to our maid, I saw her looking in the dark abyss of that little jungle. I went out to call her, but she didn't answer, so I walked even closer to reach and tap her back. She turned her head down, and I noticed there was something uncanny about her. You see, my maid was always the type to smile at me when I called her, but this time, she didn't. This time, she looked at me as if I was a stranger. I still remember her giving me that very blank stare. I then went to ask her to make my father's evening tea, and she was still silent. She didn't even blink. She was just staring at me, as if I was bothering her. This made me feel uneasy, and a little afraid, especially considering it was late and I had gone out alone. I then decided to leave, and ran back into my house and tell my dad all about it. But as I walked back, from the corner of my eye, I could tell she was still staring at me. I decided to run inside and close. I then looked for my dad, and he saw me coming inside. He asked me, "What are you doing outside?" I then said, "You told me to call the maid, and she was outside. I told her to make your tea, but she didn't say anything. Maybe she'll do it later." My dad looked at me with a rather confused look. He told me, "I already told her to make tea for me. She's in the other room, folding clothes." I then walked to ask my maid if she was outside. She told me with that same warm smile that she had been inside, folding clothes the entire time. I needed clarification, so I quickly ran to the window, and when I went to look outside to check who I talked to, I saw no one outside. I got so absolutely scared and told her what happened. She looked shocked, And she looked shocked and told me in a little whisper, as if it was something taboo to talk about. She said that people back in her village used to say many children my age see things adults can't see. They believed that young children like me have their third eye open. She said I most probably encountered something inhuman that shape-shifted into someone I trust to lure me in. To this day, this story creeps me out and leaves me with a lot of unanswered questions. There's a little message at the end that says, "Thank you for reading this story if you are Hexy. I got myself scared while writing this when someone knocked on my door, Lamau." Thank you so much. Thank you, Amira. So this is really, really interesting. I hope you guys like this one. This one is particularly fun to read, and yeah, I feel like you guys are really good writers, because I didn't adjust anything here pretty much, and you guys write really well. You guys have such great stories and interesting experiences. This is this is particularly scary. I think I really like, it kind of makes sense too how the dad was like, hey, can you tell the maid to help make up, the evening tea? And telling a 6-year-old to tell the maid to do that, that's a pretty big task for a 6-year-old. But then having the maid just be within the house, that makes a lot of sense. Just telling somebody, hey, can you tell the maid within the house to please make tea? But if the kid thought that the maid was outside and went outside and everything, I don't know. Just this one was pretty spooky. I liked it though. I really liked it. Thank you so much, Amira, for submitting that story to me. incredibly very cool, Amira. Pog you, thumbs up. I love this one. Thank you, Aurelia. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Sicklings. I'm not smart enough to run. I probably would have fucking booked it. I would have fucking booked it. Probably would have ran, or maybe I would have not. I don't know. The feeling of being scared is pretty. Okay, so these next two stories are pretty long. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm coughing left and right. I think after reading these two stories, I probably will go for a few more. But I won't be able to read a lot or a bunch just because it's a bit taxing on my throat. That's okay, please rest. Don't push it too much. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I think for the next few, or the next time we do a horror story like this, I'd want it to be at a time, maybe we can do it on a Saturday, but the day before reading horror stories, I'd kind of have to have a rest day just to properly rest my throat. Okay. Let's read some more. I've always wanted to make these a series too, where we could do videos on this. So we could do horror story videos, and you guys could always watch this. That way, as a VOD, as a video, you guys could always go back to it. It'll always be readily available. You could even download the VOD. I think it's really cool, because with me specifically, there are specific horror podcasts and there's specific horror YouTube videos that I really adore and I like so much that I download. So even if the internet goes out, or even if I'm traveling, I can just easily pop on my headphones and just listen to these horror stories. So yeah, I can have these for you. So if you ever get on a plane, or if you ever get on something like that, you can have these videos on demand ready right at your fingertips, and you can listen. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. This next one is pretty long. So that story that I told you is only half as long as this next one. And the last story that I have is pretty fucking hefty. But we'll get to it in just a little bit. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your stories again with me. This next story is by somebody named Jay. They wish to be credited as just the letter. So thank you, Jay. Thank you so much for the story. Let me start this off. You all cozy? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are okay. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. I love you all so much. Get something nice to drink. Cozy up. Yeah? Don't get too scared. Okay. So Jay starts with, "Hi. To start off this story, I'll give some background details to help the story make a little bit more sense. I'll try to be as vague as possible while still leaving in details for the story. My cousin, L, and I, J, both lived close to the US/Mexico border growing up. We are both mixed white and Mexican. At the time this story takes place, L was probably 13, 14, and I was around 9 to 10. My cousin and I are really the only two in our generation. We were both born way after our other cousins or siblings. Because of that, we grew up very close, and One day, one of my aunties was cooking dinner for the entire family. It was supposed to be a big celebration dinner for another family member's birthday. My auntie realized while cooking that she had forgotten to pick up soda for dinner and asked my cousin and I to go get it. I, of course, was so eager to tag along. My cousin let me come along, and our auntie handed us the money and sent us on our way. We didn't get far from the house before my cousin suggested we take a shortcut. Not too far from the house we grew up in, there was a shallow creek. It was ankle height at most, and would save us 10 minutes if we crossed it. Dinner was almost ready, so naturally I had agreed to take the shortcut with her. We quickly crossed the river and made it to the convenience store, where we bought a case of soda. We quickly walked back to the shallow creek, and to be completely honest, I wasn't paying as much attention as I probably should have been. I was focusing on not dropping an unbelievably heavy pack of soda for my preteen self with absolutely no muscle. I didn't notice anything was wrong until my cousin grabbed my arm tightly. I told her that she was starting to hurt me and tried to pull away from her grip. She told me to shut up. We were mean to each other every now and then. Family is just like that sometimes. But she had never been this direct with me. I looked up at her and towards her, and just past her head, I could see a woman standing in the middle of the creek bed. I could faintly hear her. I kept looking at her as my cousin continued to squeeze my arm so tightly I thought it was going to fall off. I slowly scanned the woman's face. I couldn't see any details very well because her face was covered by a white veil. But I could tell she had long black hair and her dress was also white. I continued looking at her and figured it was someone who was mentally unwell or drunk and maybe had an eccentric fashion sense, until I looked down at her feet. It wasn't that her feet were weird or that she had weird shoes, but she was still standing in the middle of the creek. But she wasn't exactly standing. Her feet weren't touching the water. She was floating, just barely above the water. I think that was the first time in my life I had felt genuine fear. I was completely frozen in place. My cousin, who still had my arm in a vice grip, pulled me harshly. She pulled me across the creek, almost tripping over slippery rocks and my own feet. I stopped looking at the woman to watch where I was going. My cousin continued to pull me in the direction of our house. I could barely keep up with her pace. Behind us, we heard the woman's crying get louder and louder. The crying turned into sobbing, and the sobbing turned into screaming. It was awful to listen to. It was so awful. We made it to the neighborhood where our house was, but my cousin didn't dare to slow down. She dragged me all the way to our front door, slammed the door open, threw me inside the house, and locked the door tightly behind us. I didn't know what to do or to say. Our auntie came around the corner and smiled at us, taking the case of soda gently from my arms. Somehow, during the entire time, I hadn't dropped the soda. Our auntie told us to quickly go ahead and grab a seat so dinner could start. She passed her sodas from the case to everyone at the table. One of our uncles quickly opened his, and I guess in the commotion I had shaken the sodas. The soda sprayed all over our uncle's face and he yelled out. He asked us what we did to the soda. I think me and my cousin were still in shock, so neither one of us answered. We both ate dinner unusually quiet after being scolded that night. We didn't speak about what happened to anyone, even when my mom and my aunt later asked. Years later, a bunch of women in my extended family decided to meet up over the holidays. Elle and I were present. We were sitting around the kitchen table, drinking, playing card games, and having a good time. My aunt gets up to grab sodas for everyone sitting down, and when she sets them down, she jokingly jests at Elle and me for managing to shake up all of the sodas at one family dinner. My cousin, who I guess was finally ready to talk about what happened that night, started explaining. She explained what had happened between drinks, and I nod every so often, confirming her story and adding my parts as necessary. As my cousin finished the story, and every person around the table looked a little disturbed. It's important to note that my family is not particularly religious, but they are heavily superstitious. My aunt nervously laughed and asked how we liked meeting La Llorona. I had gotten into folklore and creepypastas in my teenage years, and I had heard of La Llorona, but I had never put the pieces together until that moment. I think I was speechless for a long time. We quickly moved on from the conversation and continued playing cards. I don't think, apart from this time, it'll ever be brought up again. I'm sure that some people think we both hallucinated or something, but I know what I saw. It was real. I haven't seen anything like that since, and I genuinely hope to never again. And there's a little PS note here. Thanks for the lovely streams, Hex. If you don't read this, that's totally fine, but as a normal lurker, I wanted to express my gratitude and support in a way that's attainable for me. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I don't want you to ever feel like you have to express your gratitude and support in a way that is unattainable for you. You writing this and taking the time to properly write all of these paragraphs in like 2 or 3 pages worth of horror content is more than enough, and I'm very, very grateful for your time. Thank you so much for the story. Yeah, this one was fucking creepy too. Yeah, that one was pretty fucking scary, and the writing was really good. I fucked up a lot because I'm like having to keep in a coughing fit. But thank you, Jay. I think midway through reading this story, I knew that this was La Llorona as well. And it kind of made sense too, living in between the border of like the States and Mexico, basically. And going to a creek like this, I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually the encounter. And that's pretty fucking scary. Because I think the folklore and the idea behind La Llorona is, I mean, La Llorona can be in different places, and I think the story behind that, the deeper story, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that she drowns kids in that creek or in that river, as vengeance for what happened to her own children. But she drowns other children. And it would make sense why you and your cousin, who were very young, managed to see it. I know that people don't believe you. I personally believe you, if you're being truthful. But I think that that's pretty fucking scary. Thank you so much for sharing your story with me. Thank you, Perfume. Sicklings, thank you so much for watching. I just want you to be very careful as you're watching this live stream right now, okay? I know I might be paranoid, but please do a double check and look around your room. Just make sure everything is in its right place. Just do me a quick favor. There's probably nothing there. I'd like to hope, but please look behind you, okay? Please make sure that there's nothing directly behind you, and look up at your ceiling too. I think it's important to do that. There's so obviously a discrepancy between like the brats in chat and the people in chat who are like, you don't scare me. You don't scare me. The ceiling kind of worries me. Don't be scared of the fucking ceiling. Shush. I'm unconsciously holding my breath. It's gonna be okay, guys. It's gonna be okay. Don't worry. Wish me luck. I'm flying to Mexico tomorrow, and let's hope I don't meet La Llorona while I'm there. You got this. Crush Velvet, don't worry. I don't think La Llorona will come by. I think she has a tendency to lure kids in, so unless you're a kid or a child, I think it's unlikely that you'll see her, unless you're like with another kid or another. Unless you're a minor, and you shouldn't be watching the stream if you're a minor. Heck, the dogs are wailing outside right now, so shush. The dogs are wailing for a reason, Sumo. They're trying to warn you. Please listen to them before it's too late, Sumo. Listen to them before it's way too late. Wait. Hold on, I'm not fucking with you, Sicklings. I heard snapping outside my door. I swear to God, I'm alone in the house right now. What the fuck was that? Was that baby? Let me check. I'll be right back. I'm being for real. Baby? Are you? Is that you? Were you trying to scare me? Were you? That was you, huh? You don't do that sound. Why did you make that sound? Were you trying to scare me? Be honest. Are you? Oh, baby. Why did you do that? Why are you trying to scare me? I don't get it. It's me and you. You know I feed you, right? Every night. Why would you try to scare me like that? I don't know if you can hear her purring. Hold on. Why would you try and scare me like that? You know I'm having a horror story stream, right? You try and scare me because you wanted my attention again. You like it when I pet you like this? You like it when I... Does that feel nice? Oh, who's a good girl? You're such a good girl. Don't fall... No, baby, you're not allowed to fall asleep on my arms. You're not allowed to do that. I have work to do, baby. Oh, you're cozy. No. Come here. Okay. Bye. Okay. Can she stay? No, you don't know. She was fucking making noise outside my door. I don't know what she was doing. It wasn't snapping. I think she brought one of her toys upstairs and maybe tried to like mess with me by making noise outside my door, but I am literally alone right now. Like nobody's in the house with me, so hearing sounds around the house is a pretty big red flag, and I'm not supposed... I have two kitties with me here. I'm not supposed to be hearing any noise. Thank you so much, Ito. Baby, the cat, you're the best cat. Oh, you're awesome too, actually. Oh, come on. Guys, come on. You're telling me that you would rather have Baby take over the stream. Baby palette cleanser, tusk. That's the specialty. Her specialty is being spoiled. Her specialty is being a brat. Her specialty is being absolutely insufferable and the biggest fucking baby. So is that, would you still encourage her? Are you still going to encourage her behavior, You really gonna encourage that kind of fucking behavior? You're fucking awful. This is why I worry for when we have fucking when we have children together, Chan, because you're just gonna look at our baby and be like, anything that's cute is allowed to commit war crimes, you know? As long as they look cute, they're allowed to commit war crimes. Actually, I know animals can see and hear things that we can't. I know. Maybe she's trying to warn me of something. I don't know. Well, if I die during the stream or at the end of the stream, I think that would make for pretty good content, at least, right? Like, I think I would be trending on Twitter one last time, so I'm pretty chill about all of it. You know, I'd be fucking trending on Twitter one last time. Local VTuber gets fucking killed on stream while reading horror stories. I see it on the news already. Kind of fucking... But cats are the best medicine, especially after scary stories. Best to cuddle with. I'm not letting you off the hook that quickly, John. I'm not letting you off the hook. Anything for views. Yeah, if my fucking funeral isn't live streamed, I don't know what to say, man. My funeral better be fucking live streamed. Wet food fun. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. It's so funny you say this because I literally I bought them some more wet food just yesterday. So it was your timing is fucking insane. Thank you so much. You did not have to do that though. Thank you guys. Thank you. Okay. Okay, are you guys ready for more? Premium wet food. So we put Bones music on you in your funeral. Put Yugon Hexed on. I think that'll be pretty fun. just bumping that during the funeral, like having the pastor have somebody deliver the eulogy, you know, my mom crying in the background, just be like, he was such a, out of all of the boys, out of all of the sons, he was definitely one of them. I can hear my mom's speech already, and just in the background of her talking is bloodstains on my tiles, feel like you've been nice. I fucking forgot the lyrics to my own song. I just wanna I just wanna let down my family members one last time. Just one last time. Alright, troublemaker, these stories are already giving me the creeps. Thank goodness for baby, missed you in chat. Brings peppermint vanilla tea. Ah, it sounds so good, Storm Whisperer. Here, dear, rest your voice between reads and streams. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh my god, Viv. My dog sometimes will scratch at his bed to get comfortable, and my parents are out of town. And one night he was scratching his bed, and I got scared thinking it was coming in the house from our garage. That's fucking scary though, Viv. There's moments where the cats or the dogs, like I used to have a a really big golden retriever. He was the biggest sweetheart ever. But we were tasked to take care of him for a little bit. It wasn't like he wasn't ours, you know. He kind of was just, we were supposed to take care of him for like half a year, and we had a big golden retriever, and he was so fucking energetic. He would go into the room and like bounce all over the place, look at me, run circles, and I was just looking at him. I'm like, if I could just have half of your energy, I would rule the world, man. He was fucking zooming like crazy, and he would do this thing where, I don't know, but golden retrievers, at least my golden retriever, he thought that he was a baby even at like 10 months old or a year old. Like, we would come visit him, and whenever he saw me, he would pretend like he was a fucking baby the whole time. Like, he would sit on your lap, he would like jump up on you, and this motherfucker was like, he was big, like he's like 60-70 pounds, you know, and he was just tossing that weight on me. Like, it was really cute. I would hold him all the time, and he was such a big he just fucking fumes left and right. Okay. I have one big story, and then we can maybe go through a few more, but this one is pretty big, and this one is really well written. Thank you so much for all of the supers, you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for paying my bills. I really appreciate that. This one is by Lady D. So this is a really big story. So this story alone is probably as all of the stories combined almost. So this one is a pretty hefty one. I only read about halfway through, and it was really, really good. It was really well written. It was one of the only stories that I'm like, okay, I don't need to proofread this, because this was fucking insanely well written. So I can't wait to read this to you. And hopefully thank you for spending time with me. I really, really appreciate it, you guys. Thank you. So there's a title to this, and it's called Shadow and the Song, my first experience. Oh, my throat. Let me drink. You're with your rose. Whatever makes you feel safe, please. You gotta safe as need be. It was a calm, starry night, and the sounds of crickets chirping filled the air. I was at a location I've never been to before. A small one-bedroom apartment, surrounded by wooden tiles on the walls and a row of windows next to our front door. This location was to be my new home during this period. At this time, I was about 5 years old and quite anxious about my new surroundings. Since I was so young, I didn't have a good sense of intuition. Maybe if I did, I could have sensed that something wasn't right when I arrived in my new home. That very night I had moved in, without me realizing it would be a night that would be forever etched in my memories. This is my story that built my spiritual lifelong path. My parents had finally moved us in. I remember them doing what they could to clean and organize the home the way that they would like it. Consistently unpacking and having some of our furniture delivered and assembled for them. Our beds couldn't be delivered that day. So later, after their long day of work, my parents decided that my father would be in the master bedroom, sleeping on the floor, while me and my mother slept on the sofa in the living room. At this point, it was sometime after 10 p.m. when they finally decided that it was bedtime. But before we went to bed, my father, who was a pastor, would have us pray together for protection and to receive blessing. Afterwards, my head was then lying at the right end of the sofa, and my mother's head was at the left end. We cuddled underneath the same blanket, and after some time of me examining my surroundings, I had finally dozed off to sleep. Later that night, I woke up abruptly. I'm not sure the reason why I woke up at this moment, but I decided to sit up and listen to my surroundings. It was peaceful. In front of me were boxes that still needed to be unpacked, and the front windows that overlooked the neighbor's street. I could hear the wind that was slightly blowing through while the crickets were chirping in our bushes underneath the windows outside. The room was dark, but not immensely, since the moon was shining through the left side of the windows. I remember this well because I was relieved that the moon was there, since I was afraid of the dark at this age. Along with the slight snore that I could hear from my mother next to me, all of these things brought me comfort, and I wasn't afraid at that moment. Some time passed by, and there wasn't anything I could do since it was late at night, and I didn't want to wake my parents. I also didn't want to go back to sleep. So I ended up sitting there, waiting until I became tired enough to fall back. After a while, I saw something in my peripheral. I saw something floating towards the left side of the room, directly in front of the windows. It was very faint, and at first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. I rubbed my eyes and it disappeared momentarily. But after a few seconds of looking at that spot again, it manifested itself back in the moonlight, in front of the windows. It was as if it was a cloud of smoke, but the outer lining of it seemed like dots moving and scattering, glitching in and out of reality. It still wasn't prominent because I had to squint really hard just to see it, but something was definitely there. At this point, I couldn't stop looking at this object. I don't know how long I was staring at it, and being so young, I was more curious about it than anything else. I didn't realize that it was something abnormal at the time. After a few minutes, it ever so slowly started moving across the room in front of the windows. But while it was crossing, I could see it was also morphing into different shapes. Eventually, before it reached the other side of the room, it morphed into a human-like shape. I could see it was a person that resembled a man's body, and that their head had slouched down and they were dragging their feet as if something was weighing them down across the floor. At this point, it was about 15 feet directly away from me, in front of the windows, and then it just stopped moving. I sat there quietly, wondering if it was going to move again, and it was just standing there, with its head slouched down, looking at the floor. I don't know why, but I just had this thought to say something, because it wasn't moving for what felt like minutes, even though it was most likely just seconds. Was all I could mutter, since I was starting to be more in shock as time progressed. But it was enough. Somehow, this being knew I could see him, and slowly turned its head towards me, still slouched. There were no eyes, no face, no expression. But I started to realize that something was really wrong. It straightened up and turned towards me, while facing my direction. Their body still somewhat see-through, but the moonlight somehow enhanced its outline. I was frozen, but still aware of my surroundings. Eventually, I tried to wake my mother up, with one hand while keeping an eye on the figure. "Mom," I said, while shaking. She didn't respond, and the figure was still there, standing, while I could feel its gaze even if there were no eyes. "Mom," I said again while shaking her. Still no response. Suddenly, two light orbs slowly started manifesting on the being's face, naturally where their eyes would be, and the outline of their eyes matched the outline of the body itself. I then started to panic. I looked away and turned to face my mother, and shook her with both hands. "Mom, wake up. Mom, Mom." Still no response. I then turned to look back at the figure, and he came about 5 feet closer, within just a millisecond. Suddenly, I became completely frozen. I was then making direct eye contact with whatever was in front of me, and could not move or scream. Even though in my mind I was screaming and crying as loud as I possibly could, it wasn't being released from my body, as if somehow this being was doing whatever it could to silence me and prevent me from waking up my parents. Then slowly, its mouth started manifesting, and its head was slowly rocking side to side. There were no teeth. There was more of an outline to represent its mouth. The mouth started moving as if it were to speak, but there was no sound to be heard from it. Once it started speaking, my ears suddenly closed, and all I could hear was this constant, awful ringing that kept wavering in and out, and my heartbeat was getting progressively louder and louder. Even though I was young and did not understand the ways of life and death, in some ways, I believed that this was the end for me. My eyes focused on its mouth, watching it move progressively faster and faster, while its head was still slowly pivoting left to right. The movements were becoming wild and unpredictable, as if it spoke in tongues. Then, I remembered about the prayers my father had been teaching me within the last few months prior, but I also remembered his words. God is always there for you, whenever you're in need or not. But whenever you need him the most, send him your prayers and he will answer you. So I started praying, even though I just wanted to say these prayers out loud, I could not. But in my mind, I kept repeating verses over and over again, and it felt as though hours and hours had passed, even though in reality it was. Its mouth kept moving faster and faster, to where the shape just didn't make any sense anymore. My eyes still fixed to its mouth, and tears finally started falling, and in my mind I screamed, God, God, please help me. Suddenly to the right of the room, a loud bang occurred, where our turntable was, and music started playing. Not from the turntable, but from a glass music box on top of that. It had two swans with their heads forming a heart. The melody of Swan Lake by Tchaikovsky had filled the room, while the music box was spinning of it. Then the entity's head suddenly stopped swaying and stood upright, while the movements of its mouth started slowing down. I could feel the ringing in my ears finally start to fade. I then closed my eyes, and all the screams I had in my mind finally released out of my body. I didn't waste a second. As soon as my first scream had come out of my body, I jumped and ran towards the master bedroom where my father was. I wailed and busted through the door. Papa! He jumped, confused, and saw me running towards him. My mother suddenly jolted out of the sofa too, in a panic. My father picked me up in his arms. What's the matter? He yelled. I was crying, not coherently, but tried to tell him I saw something. A man over. While I was pointing towards the spot where the entity was. Then I realized. I turned to look back, and there was nothing there, and the music stopped playing. Papa, it was scary, and I couldn't really say much more, since I was shaking uncontrollably. My parents looked at each other confused, and they didn't know what to do. My father then consoled me, sat me on the floor where he was sleeping. Stay right here, and don't go anywhere, he said. He left the room and closed the door behind him. I can only assume now that they were looking around the place to make sure there wasn't a burglar in our home, but even at that point, I was devastated to be left in the room alone, thinking the entity would come back. At this point, I don't remember anything else that night. I could only imagine that I cried throughout the night, until I finally had no strength left and dozed off. I remember the next day, my parents did what they could to try and make me smile again. They made my favorite breakfast and took me to the places that I enjoyed the most, but to no avail. At the end of the day, I was sitting in the kitchen, and my father came up to me. Hiha, can you tell me what you saw last night? I then explained to him everything, and he looked at me with a shocked expression. Okay, that's all I wanted to know, he said. He hugged me and went to the living room. I could hear my parents mumbling to each other, but I couldn't comprehend what their words were. We stayed at that location only a few more months. But the most that ever occurred afterwards were footsteps being heard in the basement from time to time. 24 years have passed since that day, and it's still one of the things that I haven't forgotten about. It is one that I think about. It is a memory that I think about often, and has shaped my beliefs and who I became to be. To this day, I've never found the answer to what that entity might have been, and I never could figure out its purpose for tormenting me that night. Since then, I've had many more paranormal experiences in my life, but none of them were ever on the same level as this. Even though this experience was one that petrified me, it has also given me faith. I know what saved me that night, and throughout my life, I've had a few more instances where I somehow was saved when I shouldn't have been. Not just in the spiritual sense, but also in the physical sense. I know if I would ever tell this story to another person, they would consider me crazy, or think I've made it up. So this is the first time of me revealing this to anyone. Yes, for me there is some unsubtlety noting that horrendous creatures do exist, but I also know that there is something good in the world that was always there for me when I needed it the most. In my mind, it is quite comforting, knowing that even when I'm alone in this world physically, in the end, I am never truly alone. Whether it's good or evil, none of us are ever truly alone. I know you won't be able to play this, and then she went on to attach the song, the Swan Lake song, that the music box was playing in the story. She said, I know you won't be able to play this on stream. I just added this so you can take a listen if you were curious about it. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. This was I was genuinely really scary and pretty intense. But I really enjoyed reading your story, and I was looking and seeing the chat in my peripheral, and all of you are being such brave sicklings, even if... Did you guys like it? I had chills the entire time. It's pretty fucking scary. It's pretty scary. It's not an easy... it's not a completely easy listen. I know it's pretty terrifying, and it has its scary moments, but you guys are so sweet. I held my breath, sleeping with one eye open. Yeah, I think that this was pretty scary. I particularly really like how realistic this story is and everything, especially with freezing. I know that freezing is a pretty terrifying, like, it's a pretty real thing. Personally speaking, you know how there's fight or flight? For me, I'm pretty fucked up because with fight or flight, I'm a pretty fight kind of person. And I think that you guys see this, right? So whenever I'm anxious, I tend to be fight, especially when it's like of things that I don't know about. So when it comes to people, I really fucking hate conflict. I really hate it. But when it comes to like friends or family or like supernatural shit, I'm always a fight kind of person. Yeah, there's like three now. There's fight, flight, or freeze, and it's okay to deal with anxiety whichever way that you do. I know that it's like it's a terrifying and scary place to be, honestly. So if you freeze or you're a fight or a flight type of person, I want you to know that I'm with you through that. Growing up with really bad anxiety, I've experienced all three, but through the years I've ended up just being a kind of fight person. But it also depends on the situation, for sure. It's 3 AM for me, so I'm getting scared, but love the stories. Thank you so much, Angie. Thank you for the 1 month. Yeah, this is really cool. Thank you so much, Lady D, for this story. It was really fucking sick in the best ways possible. It's super... Are you ready to square up with a ghost? You ready to square? I'm more of a fight than investigate. I'm a curious person. Yeah. Curiosity Curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Thank you for reading all the stories so well. You're welcome. I'm so sorry, everybody. I know that midway through, I'm just coughing really badly through it. And I can't help it, but yeah, my throat and chest are really bad. Like, I've been drinking water left and right. How's your throat holding up? It's not doing too well, truth be told. I think it's just because I'm reading so much and I talk so much, you know. Usually on a stream I don't talk as much, or when I do talk I kind of stop for a few moments. But with this one it's kind of just not stop talking, which is kind of making things okay. Take a bit of a rest. Break time. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, and then we're gonna go read maybe 1 or 2 more stories, and then we can talk to a little bit. I do want to raid Nina today too, so we can do that. I'm acting brave now, but as soon as the sun goes down, I'm gonna get paranoid. I'll love the stream, and don't worry, I'm a big girl. I love how you're saying you're a big girl. I don't know if you're convincing me of that or convincing yourself of that, Viv. Are you a big girl? Okay, yeah, we're gonna take a little break. This stream is probably gonna be like 2.5 hours long, maybe. But I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break here and just try not to die. Maybe take some allergy meds or something. I don't know. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll be back in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. I'm not done with you. Thank you, Green Poison, for the teal. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the supers, everybody. I appreciate it so much. I'll be right back. Stay right here. Thank you, everybody, for waiting for me. My throat isn't feeling all that better, but I do have a few stories left in me. Hi, everybody. Hi, babies. Hello, babies. Welcome back, welcome back. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, the background music is... I must say so, if I do say so myself. Are you feeling okay? I'm feeling alright, everybody. Just a little bit on the throat is fucky-wucky side, but I do have a few more stories in me, and I think we'll read 2 more. And these are a little bit... they're not as long as the last one. They're about half as short as the last one. But I think after these 2 stories, I'm just gonna Zatsu it up for a little bit. We can talk. And scare each other a little bit more. Don't strain yourself. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay. You ready for this? Are you ready for these next few stories? Okay. So these ones, I don't know, I think these are interesting. The next one I'm going to read is from Raven. So this is from Raven. Thank you so much, Raven, for your submission. I really appreciate it. I'm so fucking, like, absolutely obsessed with all, and I'm so honored to be reading all of your shit, so thank you guys so much. Thank you again. I can't express how thankful I am to you guys for being able to be vulnerable with me, sometimes share parts of your lives, like with Lady D's story, having never shared that with anybody else, and then having me read that for everybody else, or for everyone else to hear, is just nuts to me. I'm so grateful for it. Okay, let's read this. So this is by Raven. When I was a teenager, my sister and I went on vacation for summer break to our family cabin in the mountains. The house was recently renovated, and before this trip, nothing out of the ordinary would happen. The cabin had 2 floors, a lovely deck, and plenty of room to go around. So much so that my sister and I had an upstairs room to ourselves, with multiple beds, ample space, and a singular window which allowed daybreak in. And at night, the pitch of black. Whenever it was time to turn out the lights, the room's energy would become heavy, as if it was weighted down by the encompassing darkness. And worst of all, there was an unmistakable feeling of being watched in that very same darkness. One night, while most of the adults were away at a local bar, my sister and I turned in early and headed off to bed to rest for the next day's familial activities. As I shut my eyes and began to drift off into sleep, I briefly felt a cold breeze cross over my face. Then a moment of pause, and then again, and again. As this patterned breeze continued to wash over me, I came to the shuddering realization that this breeze was like breathing, like a breath on my face. Keeping my eyes closed and hoping for a reality check, I called out to my sister and asked if the window of the room was open. To my dismay, she said it wasn't. But to my relief, the breeze dissipated. Thoroughly creeped out and unwanting to give the origin of the breeze any thought or power, I turned towards the wall closest to me, closed my eyes tighter, and tried to pay the eerie sensation no mind as I attempted to return to sleep. It must have been an hour later when I was woken up by my sister sharply calling out my name in a startled haste. I hurriedly asked what was wrong, but she disregarded the question to insist that we needed to leave the room immediately. After speeding down the stairs, we gathered ourselves and our nerves in the living room. As my sister regained her composure, she told me what happened that scared her. She told me in the midst of her sleep, she felt an uncomfortable pressure manifesting on her chest, like something suddenly started sitting on top of her. And while the seated weight grew, she felt as if something was nearing ever closer to her face, accompanied by the crackling sound of an ancient mouth finally opening once more and filling the distance between her and the approaching horror. Wait, I read that wrong. There was, okay, wait, this one, I think it cuts on a little bit here, but there was this acrid breeze of breathing. But worst of all, after all of this had happened, she found herself in a state of sleep paralysis, hostage to the encroaching presence. She told me she tried calling out for me in a panic multiple times, each attempt failing behind sealed lips as the stale breaths felt closer and closer to her face, until, to her terror, she felt a dry tongue slide against her cheek. In that moment, her body rose up in shock and rejection of what had just happened, and finally my name broke free from her mouth. And just like when I called her, and just like when I called out to her before, when she called out to me, the presence and its breathing vanished. Needless to say, we stayed and slept downstairs for the rest of the night. When morning came, we hoped to pass the day without giving the previous night any thought, rationalizing it every which way so we could move on. But as we got ready for the day ahead of us, my sister found light bruising on her cheek. For the remainder of our trip, we kept the lights on when night came. So thank you so much, Raven, for sharing this story. I think in particular this one was really fucking creepy too, because the idea of this sounds like something a really fucked up or perverted person would do, right? Like to lick your cheek while you're asleep, and to like be really fucking creepy and stalkery and do something really messed up like that. But the idea that there was nobody in the room when you woke up, and the breathing just stopped and there was nothing there, was really, it must have been like fucking terrifying. And that's just straight up scary, because the idea that the ghost was there almost marking you and being like, oh, you know. So that was fucking insane. And the writing was really good. I'm sorry for messing it up in the middle of it, but it was really, really good. And I hope you and your sister are doing well and you've not experienced anything like that. It kind of creepy how your sister found light bruising on her cheek, though. That's pretty spooky. Pretty. Thank you for sharing, Raven. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Why is Grimace in my fucking chat right now? Grimace, get out of here. You're scaring everybody, Grimace. Get the... Okay. Okay, so this next story, and this might be the last one. This is, how long is this? I don't really... Okay, I think it begins here. So this last story, everybody, was written by somebody named Sky Flaku, or is it Sky Flake You? I don't know, but you're in chat right now. I see you, Sky Flake, for submitting your story, Sky. You guys are really sweet. Whenever you see the person who wrote this story, you're just like, oh my god, Sky, oh my god. It's really, really sweet. Thank you so much for writing this story, Sky. Thank you for taking your time to honor me with such a great story, and I can't wait to read it to people right now. So this one begins with Skyflake saying, "Where do I even begin?" As most horror stories go, mine took place in my childhood home. It's true, Sky got it right. I mean, like, most of the horror stories I read happen to be of, like, childhood memories, you know? Or, like, people in their teens or young teenage years. I mean, their childhood home. So Skyflake on this. Skyflake is... But rather than the house itself, my story begins in the looming forest behind my childhood home, and it crosses my mind from time to time. The town I spent most of my childhood is surrounded by luscious green mountains, and the high altitude frequently covers the town with a fog so dense it makes it difficult to see what's beyond, even if it was merely a small distance away. The weather was always cold and rainy, perfect for growing roses and strawberries, but prone to landslides, which always kept my dad awake whenever it rained too much. The house itself was relatively new, but the land it was built upon was owned by my great-grandfather since the First World War. Every door in the house has a crucifix painted on it. Nothing peculiar, simply chalked it up to having a religious grandmother. Our beds were not ever allowed to face the door directly. When I grew older, I began to question these familiar yet strange customs. From hushed stories, I would hear about sightings of ghostly figures coming from the forest, aimlessly wandering the house, and how sleeping with your feet pointing towards the door will allow these ghosts to take your soul with them. Despite hearing people's shared experiences, I remained skeptical, even as a child. That is until one fateful morning, I was the first one awake, which was frankly unusual for me. I was on my way into the living room when I noticed, from my peripheral, translucent figures coming from the backyard garden. I first saw a pale-looking man, followed by a lady in white, and finally, a little boy trailing shortly behind her. By instinct, I was frozen in fear, careful not to alert them of my presence. I waited for them to wander far enough into the house, then I immediately ran back to my bedroom so I could wrap myself in a blanket. Eerily enough, no one else in my family woke up during this encounter. It was as if the ghosts already knew that I would be alone, and they wanted me to be the only witness. The backyard garden is surrounded by pink and purple hydrangeas. I think these are a type of plant or flower, maintained by my grandmother. It is the only place that separates the house and the forest. It is also the farthest place we were not allowed outside after sunset. Whenever the grown-ups needed to go there to get firewood and fresh fruits, they were careful not to go beyond the giant boulder. Anyone that went up to a certain place in the forest would come back, seemingly okay, until all of a sudden they would be struck with fever. There were a few occasions when I could see what looked beyond the garden. There was a short human-made path to cross a narrow creek, and just a little further you could see a small waterfall. The scenery was captivating, but it was as if every minute you spent there felt like hours. Plus, you could always somehow sense it. That feeling that there's something, some entity keeping their eyes on you. It was as if there was something in that forest that was trying to protect it, and if they deemed you a threat, they would cast sickness on you as a warning. Yet at the same time, it was like they were cursed to stay there. Lost souls that are unable to leave beyond the area, which is why they are seen roaming around the house. I spent my childhood accepting the fact that we were not the sole inhabitants of that house. The weeks before we were set to move overseas, my siblings and I started to get vivid dreams nightly. My youngest sibling had it the worst with the night terrors. The strangest thing was that each of our dreams had one shared element, and it was always that damn forest. I could only speak about my experience in my dreams. The lady in white would take me by the hand and lead me to the forest. She would show me around the place and let me run around, and every time I tell her I had to go, she would show me the saddest fucking expression. You know, the kind of face people make before they start to wail and cry. Even so, she would stand still as a statue as I walk away. Of course, I felt bad, but I was afraid that if I looked back even just once, she would beckon me to stay with her, with the others, forever trapped in that place. Whether these experiences are truly supernatural or simply coincidence that little me tried to rationalize, I remain thankful to have spent many of my formative memories in that house. There is one thing, however, that I regret not doing. I never got to say goodbye to that house, to that forest. Although I live thousands of miles away now, in the back of my mind, there's always that lingering thought. What if she visits my dreams and beckons me to go with her one more time? And now that I've told you about this story, what if she visits you too? Just kidding. That's from Skyflake. Thank you so much. This was beautifully written, beautifully told. Thank you so much for your time and for your beautiful story, Skyflake. I really, really like this. This is really, really sweet. Thank you so much. Oh boy. You guys have the most insane, cool stories and very melancholic and sweet, honestly. I really, really like all of them, and I think that all of them are so very well written, and all of them are so very well thought out. I know that you might be like, you know, I know that you really brought out your writing chops just for me, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I enjoyed listening to everyone's stories. Thank you for reading my story, Hex. Thank you so much for sharing. I should be fucking thanking you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing. I really, really. I appreciate every submission, and there were so many. I will probably keep these submissions open, and I will remind you about the Google forums as we do another follow-up stream. But I would like to do another follow-up stream and properly get more stories, and hopefully I'd be able to tell a few more stories. I think I told a good amount here, but I would like to tell maybe 2 or 3 more stories. But I think that this could be a new series that we do a decent amount. So there might be a part 2. I would love to do a part 2 with you guys, and to read more of your stories. If you have any like other stories that you want me to read, or if you think, or if you feel encouraged to share your story, the Google forums are in the previous videos. I will probably link the forum on the description of this video too when the video ends, or when the stream ends. But I can't wait to do a next new horror story with you guys very soon. It might not be next week, because I am already doing an ASMR collab stream with Nina on July 4th. Not July 4th. Is it the 4th? I don't even know. But someday. And I'm really excited for it. I think that's tomorrow, right? Is that fucking tomorrow? It's the day after tomorrow? I don't even fucking know. But yeah, I'm really excited for that Nina collab. And we're gonna be reading an ASMR thing. We're probably gonna read it like in a prompt, like very sexily. So I'm gonna go, and I don't even know how to fucking sound sexy. How do you sound sexy? Hey guys, today we're gonna reading. Just use Millie's voice the entire time. Just talk. You already do. You don't even have to try. Okay. Just be yourself. No, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be like, hey guys, today we're gonna be reading Horton Here's a Who. You sound like an old woman. Yeah, so we're gonna basically, it's so funny because Nina was like, Hex, listen, before I leave, we need to induce buy panic one last time, okay? We need to induce buy panic. I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? He's like, well, we're gonna do ASMR, Hexy. Well, what do you fucking think? So, okay, mom, you know what? I like the way you're thinking. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. So we're gonna do ASMR reading. I'm really excited for that. So I probably won't be doing it this week. But next week I really do want to be able to try and do another horror reading stream. The thing is, I want to do another ASMR stream or an ASMR video pretty soon. So I will see, but definitely this month there will be a part 2 to all of this. I will open up the Google Forms again. I'll keep them open, honestly. I won't ever close them. I'll keep them open, because even if I don't read your horror stories on, it's really nice to be able to read them off stream too, and I can't wait to go through many more of them. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and I hope you guys like it. I want to keep Zatsuing right now and keep going, but at the same time I want this VOD to be accessible to so many people and just be able to like have them skip through everything, you know, and not. I'm so in love with the horror stories, and I want this stream to be something you guys watch as much as you guys like. So I feel like as much as I want a Zatsu here, I'm going to, despite English being my second language. Thank you for reading my story. You did so well, Amira. You did so well. Thank you so much for sharing your story with me. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna use it. I personally don't have many paranormal experiences, so this is really interesting and eye-opening somehow. Thank you for reading us stories. Now we can have many more streams like this if your health permits, of course. Damn it, Rieti. I hate it when you send me sweet supers because I'm gonna have to respond to you sweetly as well. I thank you for the nice message, Rieti. I guess you're really cool too, and I'm happy, I guess, that I can read stories for you, I guess. And I guess it was nice having you, I guess. Don't sound too happy. Sam, what did Ria to eat today? What's this niceness? All of this niceness all of a sudden. Jokes aside, guys. Thank you for all of this. I appreciate it. You know, I want a Zatsu and I want to be able to talk to you guys more, but also I want this VOD to look good. I want this VOD to look good for people who want to read it, or who want to listen to the story. People, thank you for this stream and for giving a beautiful voice to the stories of the people in this community. Oh, April, honey, darling, thank you so much. You know, you're so sweet, April. You could never be like certain people named Rieti out there. You're such a sweet, thank you so much, April. You're so sweet. Oh, April. Oh, sweet summer child. I hope you're having a beautiful day today, April. Thanks for the super chat, Rieti. Thanks for this. But April, I hope you've eaten well today, darling, and I hope you, I hope you're having a great day. You too, Rieti. Don't die. All jokes aside, guys, thank you so much for this. Thank you for spending time with me. No thanks, Rieti. You're a fucking meanie, but I fucking love you. I really love you guys. I know I fuck around with you, but seriously, Sicklings are the nicest people in the fucking world. And although you bully me, I know it's done completely from love. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, make no mistake, I'm gonna hold the fuck out of your hand. I still want to hold the shit out of your hand. Still want to give you a fucking forehead smooch, regardless of how much you bully me. And even if you bully me, I'll just... I was stuck between EP and from you reading and also being freaked out from the stories. That's what I fucking wanted. That's what I wanted. I wanted you to fall asleep and have you wake up just to the stories, you know, like, or to being afraid and to the anxiety of it all. It was really nice to be able to experience the stream all cozy. Thank you for reading us some stories. I was really happy to be here today. Thank you so much, Tintin. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you for the teal super. I'm just so happy right now. I'm so smiley because this is something I've wanted to do for such a long time. I'm so happy to have finally done it and to have read some of your horror stories and to have breathed life into them. It's just so fucking nice. Thank you guys. Thank you, Maya. I can't wait to watch the VOD later on. Thank you for always providing such amazing content. Remember to take care of yourself, Goofy. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, Maya Papaya. Thank you, Hex. I was a bit lonely. Thank you for your company. Thank you, Addison. I'm sad. I thought you were gonna be asleep. I was hoping not to receive any messages from you, Addison, because that would have meant that you fell asleep, but it didn't work. No. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for the thank you so much for the horror stream. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I want to talk more. I honestly would talk for like 20 minutes more, but again, I just want the VOD to look good. I want it to be something you guys can skip to and just use whenever you want. Hi Hex, thanks so much for reading my story. This stream was great. Here's to many more streams. Jay, your story was beautiful. Thank you so much for the submission. Thank you for the 5 months, Jay. Thank you, thank you. It was such an honor reading all of your stories. Thank you for like being vulnerable with me. It wasn't just the story, it was you being vulnerable about your childhood, family dynamics, and it's not always easy to do that. It's not always easy to open up about things that you may have not told anybody before. I want you to know that to those of you who think who are scared because people won't believe you, I want you to know that I do believe you. I have experienced paranormal experiences when I was 17 and 18. That was when I had my biggest ones. So I was not a kid or anything, and I've seen things with my own eyes. I don't want you to feel alone or feel like people all don't believe you or you're just being ridiculous. Thank you so much. Thank you for the supers. Thank you, Obsessed. It's almost 2 a.m. here. I'd be sure to sleep well tonight. Thanks for the cozy stream. Of course, Obsessed. Your profile picture is creepy too. It's perfect. Thank you for reading my stories. Mwah, mwah to you back, Raven. Thank you so much for writing it. Thank you so much, Ivy. Thanks for doing this. Of course. Your streams are helping me cope with a brutal breakup, so thanks for being my rebound. I will be your rebounds as much. Please use me? No, please. Please use me. Fuck it. Please use me. Use me as much as you like. Use the shit out of me. Thank you so much, Neo. I was just, I was trying to find the right words and I was like, fuck it. You know what? Excuse me. Okay, this one has to end because it's gonna be weird. Listen, to everybody watching, I'm not sussy. I'm very say-so. I just read horror stories and I do my silly little horror story streams and horror game streams. I'm very fucking say-so. If you're finding me, if you're new and you're finding me to be from this Vaughn, just know that I'm not usually like this. And it's my chat that eggs me on. You did an amazing job with narrating and helping these stories bloom, given your circumstances. Thank you so much for being a voice to us. I love you, Acelia. Love you, love you. Love you so much, my Sicklings. I really, really adore every single one of you. I see all of you individually. Local Ghost, Yessie, Bryden, Jillybean, Leah, Maya, Miss Dahlia, Betty Potato, BB, Pisces, K's, Aura, Sophia. Oh my god, Viv, shut up. Oh my god, I gotta leave this. I see all of you. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for submitting your stories. This made me really happy, and I think you guys can tell because I'm smiling through my words. And thank you so much for all the supers too. I know that I wasn't able to, I think I read every single one of them, but thank you guys. I can't tell you, literally, your super chats, I hope you know that they genuinely pay my bills. I would not be able to do this without any of your support, without any of your generosity. Like, you help put food on the table. So thank you for all of that. I appreciate it, and it never goes unnoticed. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll see you guys very soon. I need to confirm if tomorrow is the collab with Nina or if it's another day. It's either, maybe it's the day after tomorrow, I'm not sure. But regardless, thank you for all of this. Thank you for being my safe space. You're all my babies. I hope you know this. You're all my babies. I want all of you to succeed. I wish I could give you a big smooch. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for this. Okay, John. I'll see you all very soon. Thank you for this. Be safe. Take care. Look under your bed tonight. I love you. Oh, wait. We should raid Nina. Oh, fuck. Nina Kosaka. NIJISANJI ENJ. Okay. So Nina's having a very chill Zatsu. Let's raid Nina today. Please be nice to Nina. Say really sweet things. I love this person so much. Say hi to Fox Mom for me, okay? Okay, to Nina we go, everybody. I love you. Take care.